Hi there friends and welcome back to episode 5 of the tutorial sect. I'm Icon and we will today dive deeper into the adventure system. I don't know how much further we get beyond that. This will be the center topic of this episode. Beyond that, let's see what we will encounter. So, at the end of the last episode, we have heard rumors that there's a good time now to return to the ruins of Tayi. So from time to time you will have certain events which lead to an entry here in the secret menu, and these are basically adventures which you can go for. A lot of these are procedurally generated, but these are scripted ones. So the return to Tayi Sect always happens after 20 days of after your arrival here. So it's day 21 now. Everything is in order. So we're going to go first for the return to Tayi, and then we're going to pick up the stone casket too. But this is going to be the first thing. So we will this time go for a different approach than the last time. The last few times we went for the adventure option. This time we're going to go for the camp option. Camping means that the cultivator will go over there, set up camp, and stay there. This gives you the option to enter the map once he's camping there, but also you can encounter adventures there repeatedly. Every 2 to 4 days, there's going to be a new adventure spawning at the campsite. So basically, you could put a cultivator over there and just let him sit there and repeat those adventures ad nauseum. Sometimes that's really useful because there are adventure sites out there which provide you a steady input of experience. So this has potential. For today, we're going to do this to discover the secrets of the Tayi Sect. So let's fast forward a bit. Our little friends here will just stay at home and do their thing. As I see here, my food resources are completely depleted. We don't have any food whatsoever right now. So we're going to hunt ourselves some chicken and probably start farming today as well. So that should be maybe a pretty good option. So the informations you see down there in the down right corner are provided by the More Grid Info mod, which I'm using. And basically it just makes it easier to read out the chi density of an area, how filthy it is, how much light there is, what kind of temperature there is. This is really good stuff because in the basic game you only have to guess what kind of temperature there is on a certain spot. And while you get a readout of the entire room's temperature, it's very well possible that a few grids of that room have several hundred degrees of heat, whereas the outer reaches of a room are not that hot. So we will cover that topic later when we start using ice and fire elemental items. That's when we have to take care about temperature changes. So for us here, we need to finish that room. We do have enough brownstone blocks, I think, to finish that task. Yes, we do. But we don't have enough spirit wood, so let's search some. We're going to chop down this tree here. It seems like it's about time to explore some more. As you see down here, our adventuring disciples uncover large portions of the map for us. Pretty good stuff. And now we arrived at the I think it's Mount Baron, to go after the secrets to the return to Tayi thing. So, and when we get through this event, well, I don't want to read the entire text, but basically it breaks down to us finding the remaining basic laws and uncovering the new location, the ruins of Tayi. So here I'm going to show you Wait a sec. Okay, we're searching here. The ruins again. You get here a hint that you should check out the Spirit Stone Pagoda. And we also say hi to a person from the Evenfall Abode sect, which don't really say hi, we just see it there. I don't want to spoiler any story elements here. This tutorial is about user friendliness. So now we obtained all the other basic laws. As you see here, every law has an attached element. We didn't talk about that yet too much. And a certain prerequisite set of stats. So for today, we're going to leave it with that. Later down the road, we will also create new cultivators. So, Mount Full Moon it was. Okay, so Halion is now over here at Mount Full Moon. If I would keep her at this position, she would just get a new opportunity to do the adventuring at Mount Full Moon over and over again. But we're going to enter this map. But before I do this, I want to point at the ruins of Tayi, which showed up here. This is a new map. So now we're going to enter our first map. This is basically possible for all these things here. Every map, except for the cities and these areas where you see these flags, can be entered. So there's a lot to discover in this world. Really a lot. These maps you enter are not procedurally generated, they are handcrafted, and the content in there is always the same. You saw I just selected that guy and pressed enter. I don't think that needed too much explanation. So now we have entered the village here. So this works and behaves pretty much like your own sect map. So we can move with this button here. I personally always use the V button to get the commands down here. So here we can now stroll through the village. All these people out here, you can check them out, can be recruited for your sect. So visiting these places is a pretty good way of finding new people for your sects. Also, a certain amount of people, if not all, I never really checked it, are pre-generated. So there's always in a couple of townships a couple of people which are really, really good. I can only remember that one village has a pretty good cultivation candidate. So here, to recruit these people, this needs a lot of effort if you don't use the simple social interaction mod, which I have, and almost no effort if you use that mod. That's why, well, I sadly must say the mod does break the game a little bit. Because, you know, you can entirely cheese the social system there. But the social minigame, well, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So, the social minigame works like that. First you select somebody, then you go talking. So now we talk. Here in this menu, you see, here's the favor of that person. First you can chat. And by chatting with these people, you grind up the favor. You can do this a couple of times, and a couple of times, and then there's a little bit of small talk. And after a certain amount of attempts, it stops. Then you can either act and gift this guy something, or you start discussing. And that's where this game goes crazy. So first you have here the discussion menu where you can ask this guy about his favorites and what he's liking or not liking, his personality and his weakness. So the next step is to be good enough friends with these people to find out their favorites. Then you can gift them enough until you have hit the emotional guard, and then you need to have a high enough social skill to actually break the emotional guard. And then, once you are at 100 of these points, you can finally invite these people to your sect. This doesn't sound as cruel as it plays out. If you like that kind of gameplay, feel free to do that. It sums up to chatting with these people, discovering their favorites, having enough social skill, And then I think with a proper gift, you can break the emotional guard. I must admit to my own shame that I never mastered this element of the game because it's so troublesome when there's just a mod which is called Click Favour, and yeah, well, this is game breaking. But a lot of players agree with me that the social system of this game is so poorly made that it's almost no fun to actually really play it. So we go like this. Now you can, with this mod, you can now just ask him out of for his favorites. And also worth mentioning is that sometimes people have personal treasure on themselves or some secret knowledges, but more about that later. I just wanted to give you a quick breakdown why I use the Click Favour mod, and well, if somebody would be so kind to elaborate how the social system really works in the comment section, I would be super grateful, because actually I looked for material before I recorded this episode and I didn't really manage to bring up anything useful. So be my guest. Alrighty, enough about that. So, long story short, with that mod, we can basically invite everybody here in this village into our sect. And, well, if you find that too cheaty, be my guest and master the social minigame. It's up to you. I don't force anybody to do it like that, but I tried it and I disliked it. Okay, next topic now. So, as you see here, we are now just strolling through that village, looking at people, uncovering the map. You might ask yourself now, what's that all good for? So first off, you can loot these places. Basically, everything which is a mortal relic tier item can be picked up. So as you see here, there's herbs and woodlogs, and even things which are a higher tier can be just picked up if nobody's just looking right now. So these acts are not even any crimes or anything. You just well, in the cultivation world, the immortals, the cultivators, don't think too highly of mortals, and well, basically their own excuse would be like, well, it's their job to provide for us. So basically like that. Or maybe I'm wrong about that. Correct me if you want to. But what's more important here, you cannot only steal from poor villagers, you can also explore these maps. Right now we're not strong enough to explore maps completely, so I'm not going to cover up this topic too deep, but there's also a neat little trick which I wanted to show you here at Mount Full Moon. So once you have uncovered the village, there's this small mountain passage here. And here it's quite important that you stay on the path, because above here is a demonic monster which well, you can beat it with some luck, but it's easier to tackle these things later. But what's more important here is this Sect gate here. So basically, from the moment on that you have your first cultivator, you can go and camp at Mount Full Moon and do what I did here with that gate, and then you get an instant uncover of the ruins of Tayi. This is a little bit of a cheat or workaround or trick to get to that area quicker. Just wanted to showcase it here because a lot of players love to use this trick, because most of the time you are able to bring up your first cultivator way before day 20. And we're going to get into the ruins of Tayi now as the next chapter. But before that, we're going to talk with the merchant, because the merchant is in town. So first off, if you want to do business with the merchant, your storage zones need to be configured to be available for sale. That's really important. Also, you need to have a other zone here, the trade area, because the trader can only work with you if he knows where to put the items you buy from him. It's going to be this here. So now we're going over to the trader. I have put down a talk command on him, so the next free disciple goes away. So here we have the trade menu. Right side is our stuff, left side is the trader stuff. Over here at the above this whole menu, you always see the recent news of trade. So during this visit, the outer miscellaneous items are worthless, and life spring items, if we had any, would be bought for an extraordinary price. Spirit stones are the currency of the cultivation world. You know, those stones we ate another episode before? They're money. In this world, you literally can eat money. Don't ask. We're able to sell items here, and basically whenever the merchant visits town, for me, it's a good opportunity to flush out old items. So we're going to sell away these old cultivator pants and Sect uniforms, and here you see the total value of your shipment. So we're going to sell away also the weapons which we have looted from the enemies, because, you know, we don't really need them. Beyond that, we're here going to sell some of that fabric. We're going to sell away from these animal hides, because the more money I can accumulate, the better. I'm going to explain why in a minute. So here we have now a total price of 538. Now, over here, we can buy all manner of different things. Keep in mind, though, the merchant here is very, very costly. So everything he sells to you comes at a pretty nasty price. But he also has very rare materials in store, and I am already crying tears over the fact that I can't buy this holy stone right now. We will need one of those sooner or later. They're hard to come by, that's why. Okay, but the most important item we're going to buy from our first stay is the firecracker. With the firecracker, we can do cool stuff, which I'm going to explain once it's the time to do cool stuff with the firecracker. So the other items he has for sale are pretty obscure and hard to understand when you're new to the game, so I'm trying to summarize it somewhat. The elixir items are always consumables, so well, what do we have here? Here we have a booster for breakthrough chances, for example, or here a pill which makes you happy, but makes you less efficient at doing stuff because you're just euphoric. And there's a lot of different medicine in this game. And the treasure items are most of the time very cultivation related things. The ochre essence, for example, would be really, really good for my metal cultivation room because it's a high quality earth chi gatherer. And we're also going to buy the auction invitation. These items are always the first two I buy from the merchant. The auction invitation unlocks the auction house, and there's no reason to go for that, not as soon as you can. So as we see here, pricing here 300. We have wares in the value of 538. And sadly, I don't know why, but this game, you need to put in the difference by yourself. If not, that guy just cheekily takes takes your wares and runs away. So always make sure that these numbers are evening up. Otherwise, if you overpay, the merchant is just happily taking your stuff away, and you have no buyback here or something like that. No. This game has a very, very, very antiquated user interface, sadly. One of the big weaknesses of ACS, but every good game has its gripes. That's at least my opinion. So we're here able to place down a couple of spirit wood logs. We keep stacking up that cultivation place. So here we have more stone essences. Okay, let's wait for Helion to come back home. We have done our business with the merchant, but it's really good that we have now a couple of spirit stones at our hand, because these are really always nice to have. So, stone essences, we have 4 of them. Well, it's not quite enough for all the 4. Oh, well, let's do it like that. So here I'm going to remove these, because the accumulation range of the stone essences is 3. And I'm going to place those 4. 1, 2, 3. Wait a sec. Oh, come on, you. Behave. So, 1, 2. Okay, here the game is actually not willing to make the things like I want them to be done. Okay, whatever. We have to rearrange that. Arranging stuff on pedestals can be a little bit of a pain. So now we have the auction invitation. If you inspect that with somebody, there you go, we get an invitation to the auction house and we unlock the Black Beach. Keep in mind that whenever you read the auction invitation for the first time, you basically also trigger the timer for the first auction. So usually I wait with reading that scroll until I have a higher amount of Spirit Stone at my hand. But you know, I don't want to play too perfect here or to optimize, because that's not the intention here. So we're going to camp at the ruins of Tayin. Also, we now have access to the other laws, and it's therefore time to bring up a library. So let's do this. I'm going to construct the library out of stone, because I feel like, who would build a library out of wood? Certainly not us. Jokes aside, it's not that important which material you use for the library room, but eventually I always end up with a library room. So, because it's none of the obvious candidates, the facing of the door is for once not important. So we're going to make ourselves some stone offcuts here, so we can create ourselves some stone room. With the offcut type, though, you can always be totally free as you want to. Basically, you can use these to create a certain element on a spot on the ground, which can be really useful, but ultimately it's not really that relevant to have the proper flooring, unless you really want to pimp that auspiciousness of your sect like crazy. Okay, we're dissecting some chicken because food stocks are kind of running low, and well, let's see. There's some ginkgo lying around here. Let's hunt the other animals here. Okay. Waiting for Helion to get over to the ruins of Tai. And I don't know if you noticed it, the bar here was running down and it filled completely again. When somebody is ordered to camp at a certain site, he will be always displayed like he's finished or he's just beginning with that action. This is how it looks like when somebody arrives at his spot. I'm going to showcase that another time a little bit more clearly, because that was just noticed that was the thing. Okay, so we are now at the ruins of Tai. This is what's left of your old home. The really cool stuff here is there's tons of building material lying around everywhere. Here's some funky thing. As you see, the block size is different, and the maximum stack size, not block size, stack size is different. And it's always bouncing somewhere between 1 and 250. The crazy thing here is, if I would go away from here and get back to here, the numbers here are randomized again. This game is just crazy like that. I love to visit the ruins of Tai early on to grab some marble blocks, for example. You can grab dirty cheap building materials here. So here we also have some valuable spirit stone blocks, 235, lucky roll I guess. So that's why it's so friggin' good to get here early, and that's why this trick exists with the Sect gate at Mount Full Moon, and that's why I wanted to showcase it, because I always feel like it's so valuable. Here, for example, iron bars. Did you remember how few pieces of iron ore there were on my map? This is such a help. So down here at the southern area or southern boundary, there's also more. There's also timber if your sect is lacking on these. So for now, we're going to go over here. And that's the main use of the ruins at the beginning. But there's another thing that I want to showcase here. You can really plunder this place and grab a ton of building material. But here, this is the spirit, this is the pagoda that you were ordered to take a look at it. But we're not going to touch this before we have hit a certain level of cultivation, because at the end of the day, it's better to leave this treasure which is stored here. Because long story short, there's a unique item inside there, and we will only need it way later down the road. And if I had it now in my possession, enemies could just steal it, because that's something that happens. So here I just noticed that I can collect one shirt, which is of better quality than hers. So I keep that item here, because the real nasty truth is, if that item which is lying in that pagoda is stolen from you, it's gone forever. It's irreplaceable. I've heard people restarting because they've lost that item, so that's a trick which works, because you can come back here every time, anytime to just do that. You see there's even a pickaxe lying around here. Lots of goodies. We're just going to be happy with the stone and the iron bars and leave this place. Ooh. Okay, she will now go back home and dump these items at the reward spot. There we go. Meanwhile, the building over here is getting done. Could have built it out of marble now that I am allocating so many marble blocks, but oh well. So, we have 2 stone essences here. Bang, bang. And now the rest will be filled with spirit wood. The quicker I put these items here onto the spot, the better. Because then they are charged up faster, so... Let's see, we have our brownstone offcuts here. Wonderful. Let's do this. So this room will contain the manual pavilions. These items are there to store knowledge for you. So we're going to create a couple of them. Don't be shy placing down a lot of them. You will need a lot of storage space in the course of the game. Each of these shelves stores 100 units of knowledge, basically, or don't know how the game is calculating the amount of knowledge, but that's not that important. It's not like these shelves are costly or anything, you know. And we have a manifesting mandate event. That's a very, very special thing. So this is one of the procedurally generated events I was talking about. So the manifesting mandate is an opportunity to gain an advanced law. Basically, a teacher appears which has that advanced law in his position, and you can either send a student there to acquire the wisdom from that master, or you send a very powerful cultivator over there to take it by force. So, since I'm very much at the beginning of my career, we're going to cover up the mandate topic in the next episode, because there's a lot to talk about in that department. And at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure we won't get the advanced law, but maybe I'm lucky. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to acquire the Tayi stone casket thingy. So we're going to send Hillian one more time to adventure over there. And there we go. There's a turtle. Eat the turtle. So just be sure that you always have a certain amount of food in your stockpiles. That's really important, because that's the only thing you really need to take care about for your disciples. Give them enough food, medicine, and clothing. The survival aspect of this game is really easy, but I don't mind. And if you go for a higher difficulty, aka Immortal mode, this is also an entirely different topic, because there's a lot more difficulty in there. So, but for starters, the survival portion of the game is pretty simple, and I don't mind it for that. So let's put down some flooring here in that room too. And we get now a new event called Rebuild Agency. Yeah, that's going to be another topic for a new episode. Agencies are basically outposts in the name of your sect somewhere out there. That sums it up. Of course, a lot more behind that, but we're going to cover these topics later. So, check this out. Our last 2 stone essences are accumulated, and the last scrap of spirit wood. So the basic, or the, I won't call it basic, but it's a basic layout. The basic layout of this room is still completed. So here we go. We could also go for the Rebuild Agency event here, but first let's go for the stone casket. So we receive a stone casket there, which was hidden in the possession of one of the villagers over there. So this gave us the first amount of Sect reputation points. So you see, after we have 500 Sect reputation points, we are considered as a true Sect. Oh yeah, disturbance of the other world. That's another thing I want to talk about in another episode. There are events which run out with the passing of time, and there are permanent events. So the Taiyi Stone Casket, for example, is a permanent event. It won't run away from you. You have all the time in the world to do this. Okay, so now Helion comes back home. And where's the casket? Shouldn't you brought this thing back home? I'm a little bit confused, but I think. Where's the casket, friends? Usually they bring that stuff just back home. I don't know where it landed. But anyway, the early game events just give you access to the most basic things and manuals, and, well, a little bit confused about the fact that here it is. So for some reason she didn't find it necessary to put the things at the rewards, but okay, Helion. So the stone casket. Let's open that as a end for today's episode. So inside there we find a couple of manuals and medicines. I'm going to cover the contents of this casket in the next episode, when we're going to talk about manuals and the abilities of your sect to transport knowledge. But enough for one episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's really a pleasure to do this series, and I thank you a lot for the appreciation so far. Drop your comments down below if there are any questions. Of course, just ask away, and leave a thumbs up on that video if you enjoyed the show, and of course consider subscribing to the channel if you like my work. I do daily content, so just turn on those notifications if you don't want to miss any episodes in the future. See you guys next time, and have a wonderful day. Bye bye.